Poland was relatively quick to introduce a deep lockdown during the first wave, so more or less around March and April, which allowed the country to have remarkable score when it comes to the number of excess deaths. And that had a very good impact on the economy because the economy could simply reopen much quicker already in May. It would allow the economy to get back quickly on the right track, but then followed by the period of relaxation and a period of relatively business-friendly lockdown, we claimed that this combination had a relatively good impact on the overall economic performance. Now, the second reason is the economic structure, in particular, the big role of manufacturing sector in the Polish economy. When we introduced lockdown, the industries which suffered the most are tourism, transportation, hospitality sectors, however, to lesser extent, manufacturing. Now, in Poland, if you look at the structure of employment, 27% of people work in the sectors which were directly affected by lockdown. Now, in comparison, in the UK, this was 34% and a similar share in Spain. So we see that just by the structure of employment, the impact of lockdown on the economy would be much weaker in the case of Poland than in the case of UK or Spain. Now, the second argument is we also observe on a global scale a shift in terms of expenditure, from spending on services to spending on manufacturing goods. And because Poland is still a country with a big role of manufacturing, Polish industry could benefit from this global shift in consumption towards products as opposed to services. I think it depends a little bit on the way we measure poverty. So usually how we approach poverty is we simply say, let's count the number of people with income below 60% of the country median. Now, if inequalities in the country between very poor and mediocre people are not so pronounced, that will almost mechanically create a situation when there's almost no poverty, because there's not much difference between a poor person and a person who is in the middle, let's say. Now, if we look at inequalities in Poland it's mostly about the rich versus all other people. So we may have a lot of inequalities in Poland, but at the same time, a relatively low level of poverty, because there's not much inequality between the very poor and those in the middle of the distribution of income. So this is one argument. Now, the second argument is that indeed, there are certain policies which are helping poor people in Poland, in particular, the child allowance called 500+, which and we have a little bit of evidence of that, had dramatically reduced poverty among children in Poland after its introduction in 2017. People received monthly transfer of around 500 zloty. This is more or less $180 per each and every child this person has, right? So if you have 2 kids, then you're gonna receive monthly income of 1,000 zloty, which is around say $360. This is a significant amount. I would say this 1,000 zloty is roughly 1/3 of the median income in Poland. So it's a quite generous. This is quite a generous policy. Again, it applies to each and every child people have. There's no at this stage there are no income criteria, so everyone gets this transfer. And of course, you receive this transfer up until the age of 18 of your kids, right? So it's not for the entire life. I think this was a needed program. There is already some evidence showing that the poverty among children has been reduced by 50%. So before, in 2016, around 9 to 10% of children lived in poverty. After the program, 2017, we see this number to be around 4.5%. So we see 50% reduction in the extent of poverty among children. Of course, a part of this decrease could be because of other reasons unrelated to 500+, but I think it's unlikely that 500 did not have impact on this. I think this probably was the major reason why we observed this decline.